What?
The brain chuck?
It's like the one concept of like one person just doesn't believe in ghosts and don't have any encounters, while the other person believes in ghosts and gets all the jump scares. Alright, you ready?
Did you see that the thing moved?
Then you're like, did you touch it? You probably touched it. Okay. Hold on. I just gotta make sure that everything is streaming fine. Give me a moment.
Hello, my fellow newly employed doctor.
There you go.
Here it's your first day on the job. Let's see. Anomaly, exorcism, violent death, blah, 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 blah.
I should probably
How
get
much
on
did they tell you on the...
a spot anonymous.
let's just say some patients you're treating aren't quite right. And in that case, you just need to pick up that crucifix and perform a casual little exorcism. Don't worry, you'll be fine. There's a few ways you tell if a patient's what we call an anomaly. First, make sure to check their heartbeat on the heart monitor. That's usually exactly right. If it's 0, or
37
like 10 billion, then that's usually a good call to exercise them. Same thing with the temperature, really. If it's not around that 37 range,
Sanity.
Final thing to use is the night vision. This one's a bit less consistent, but it should be pretty obvious to you if the patient's acting funky.
Funky.
Sometimes you can see things.
Sanity pills can also...
hallucinations too, so don't go
Let's
trusting
see.
absolutely everything you see.
Oh yeah, crucifix.
Don't think I missed anything out? Good luck on the shift. I'll see you tomorrow.
Fantastic.
Ah! Okay, I need to stop using the scroll bar. I keep scrolling to try and go into third person, and I end up jump scaring myself with the night vision. What is that? Oh, that's a book. I thought you just like it censored your mouth or something.
Spooky book. Most
I'll take Layla.
anonymous.
Most anonymous. Alright, we'll accept that.
Alright, come on through here,
Let's go. It's a miss, actually. It's Leia.
Come through here, person.
Come here, human. Or are you a human? We don't even know yet.
Everything feels strange today.
He sounds like a robot. 36. Oh, that's not supposed to be 37, isn't it? See? See?
Sorry about that. Everything broke. Let's see.
His temperature is 36. Is that an anomaly?
No. I think it's when it's like 4.
Shouldn't be like 37.
It says approximately. Yeah, they just have high, whatever. If I go into here and see anything. think we're okay.
I'll fix the leg.
Oh, I got it. I'm already in it right now.
Sweet.
Okay, stock hit. What?
Oh, he sneezed. Bless you.
Oh. That scared me.
Gesundheit.
I
don't like this guy.
You don't like him?
No, he can't.
Oh, wait. It's not the most anonymous. It's the most annoying.
What was it? Some weird black stuff appeared on my screen. This was like...
Really?
Not
Why did I just hear something breathing?
I think we let it in the wrong person.
I didn't see anything wrong, though. It said anything over 100. Right? How to spot an anomaly. Yeah, so you're supposed to have from 45 to 100 and approximately 37 degrees.
Tell them it's Roland.
Tell them it's... Hi, Roland.
Raldo.
What's with all these people breaking their bones?
Ooh. We'll get you registered here in a moment. Sweet. See you in there.
Alright, this is your patient. I'm just gonna make sure that they don't go and try and kill you while you take care of them.
Ah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
You have your special eyes.
So don't call it that. Overreacting about a broken bone? Seriously? Are you suspicious? What's with the-
36.1. What?
Did you not see that?
Nope. I must have turned it too late. Yeah.
Okay. Ooh. Yeah, none see there. Didn't. No, I didn't see none. Anyways,
Your leg fixed.
back to watching the guy. That scared me.
Yes.
You did a funny.
Oh,
What's your
go
funny
on.
you did, Matt?
Oh.
Hmm?
There was a creepy lady on the ground.
What?
That wasn't real. Yeah, there was a creepy lady on the ground. She was like
Interesting.
crawling towards us with funky hair.
I am the one, I guess, that gets scared. But there doesn't seem to be anything anomalous about this guy. They said it would be extremely obvious, so...
Something spooky?
Yeah.
Sorry.
You didn't cause it. I blame this guy. Goodness.
Blame this guy. Hey, he was the right guy. I got 10 points from that.
Nice. Oh, you got your license to drive? That's cool, Matt.
Yeah.
My turn now. Honestly, I'm scared.
Yeah.
I'm scared.
Where's the music go?
Oh, I had to turn it off because I'm streaming still.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if it's like...
It's
Well,
like
I'm
old
not-
timey. Oh, look at this cute guy.
Did he just say the line's very long?
Oh,
The
I don't know.
not even a line?
Isn't he cute? Got a cute face, a little helmet. See anything?
That's fine. Definitely.
Okay.
I've been better.
Okay.
Alright. So he's
Alright.
got a broken arm. Heart monitor.
Okay, we're normal. Please be normal. Normal. Okay. Hi! I'm streaming, by the way, and playing a horror game, so...
I wanted to let you know that you have cursed me because since you made pizza, I now want to make pizza, and I'm not going to eat your
Be gone.
expensive pizza crust. So now I have to order myself pizza. So thank you for cursing me.
My apologies. I was hoping to do it before you got out of your room.
No, it's fine.
Did you... What? Oh, no.
Only other option.
Yeah.
It came
Yeah.
at me. It came at me.
Yeah.
Is it
Do you
bad?
not like this guy?
Can you exorcism him? I don't know if you can exorcism him.
Exercise.
Oh, wait, you did it.
Exercise tip.
What was even wrong with him?
I don't know.
You'll regret this.
Oh?
You'll regret this.
Oh,
You
wait.
lost some sanity.
No, a
Because
normal
you're
person was
fine.
fine. So, wait. Okay, so you can exercise normal people.
Yes, and this will be very bad for us.
Great.
Don't worry,
Yeah,
I
I
have my
just lost a
cross
lot of
together.
sanity there.
Yep, so did I. Go cure another patient.
Yay.
Want me to do it this time?
Yeah.
Cool.
So apparently
Oh,
that
hello
was
there, sir.
a...
Your face seems to be melting.
Do you have the case of melty face?
My presence is expensive.
Brian, France,
Your
his face
presence-
is already melty.
Is your face
Broken,
melting
right?
off of yourself? No, that apparently is
Face
just...
is melting in the photo, so I guess it's alright.
Guess it's just how he was born. Hello, Mila. Malarkey.
Sweet.
Miller's in the chat. That is a Miller.
Hello, Miller.
We have the Taylor and the Matt in the chat. Please pretend I look normal. Oof.
No worries. No droopy faces around here.
Okay, this dude looks okay.
Nothing weird on the intercam.
You want to put him in the IVs?
Put in IV. Let's look at the
Heart to
Did
beats, pretty good.
57.
This guy looks okay.
60. Oh,
We are okay.
that's not
I will now hide up here.
fix his arm.
I don't like that noise.
The sound of the arm cracking. Oh, where'd he go?
He's
oh,
right
he's
there.
over there.
What do you mean? No, don't exercise him.
Ah,
That's hallucination.
okay. Well, he like got out of bed and
So we know if it's a hallucination if only one of us sees it, but it's
Yeah.
real if both of us see it.
okay.
Just guessing. That is a full-blown guess.
Well, the last person you exercised, I didn't see him do anything weird at all.
So some things you see are hallucinations. I've seen it all in this place. It's hard to know what you can trust. Best to stick to the readings. So yeah. If any of the other stuff's wrong. And then we also apparently have phantoms. Phantoms started appearing at night 4, but we haven't even gotten past night 1, so I won't read that yet.
Alright.
It's awake?
You lose some of your
Oh,
sanity.
it was an
Wow.
anomaly?
Wasn't an anomaly. I mean, he did have a pretty big melted face. I think. we're
How are
losing
we
his
supposed to
soul.
know this stuff? I don't even know anymore.
Oh, hello there. You look like a normal human.
I'm here for my appointment.
I don't know how to tell if they're an anomaly or not anymore.
I think they're pretty good here.
Because it said to stick to the readings. Like, but we stuck to the readings. The readings said they were okay, right? Did we miss something? The heart rate.
Notes. Oh, or no. Right.
I don't even know. I don't even know anymore how to do this.
Oh, their temperature is
That's...
oddly.
I'm gonna test it. Oh. Okay. Woo.
Oh, we did it. That's correct.
Oh. Thank goodness.
Fantastic.
Alright, so we figured out one thing.
But that was pure random.
I'm Greg. I'm here for my appointment.
Hello, Greg.
Greg. And no picture.
Greg has no photo.
Now we get to see what that means. I'm worried.
At least we have combined sanity, right?
Do we? What's your sanity at?
I'd almost close to the last
I've
bar.
been better.
I'm 55. So.
Oh, I'm 30.
So we do not have a shared.
No.
This guy needs to get exercised. He has negative. He is in the negative. Look at his temperature. You got him?
Been exercised.
Okay.
Plus 10.
Yay! Okay. So we know the obvious ones.
Cool. We're doing better.
I don't know. I don't even know what we did wrong on the first ones.
don't know. Someone's trying to
Ooh,
reach me.
I'll
I
pick it
should
up.
answer before it stops.
Oh, never mind. Save me. Well, let me go. Ah! No, thank you.
Yo, sign me up right now.
Sign you up.
I like the
Okay,
music.
Larry Lloyd.
Hello, Larry.
Well, that scared me.
That was a weird.
Is everyone gonna have a broken leg?
We thank you for your help.
We?
Yeah.
What do you mean by we?
Is 37.4.
That's fine.
Is 10. Heartbeat is 92.
Should be fine. Oh, yeah. Okay. Looking throughout the room. This person should be good. Should be okay. I don't know, I'm worried to take care of somebody.
Oh, no, the picture over. Do you see
What?
this? The Mona Lisa?
That just looks like that.
Is it supposed to look like her head is broken?
Take off your goggles.
No, it looks like that out with it off the goggles.
Did someone just put a drunk
doesn't look
effect
like
on me?
that's
Everything's kind of just moving. Okay. I think this person's fine.
I don't like the fact that it said we.
I don't like the fact that it said we as well.
Alright, now the fact that nothing's happening to us might indicate.
Don't say that too soon.
Oh, hello there.
Hi?
Crawled down my face. Okay.
That's the thing that scared me. Man, you're just so chill about this.
That's the way I handle
Oh!
scariness.
Okay.
Was there a creepy guy in the corner here crying?
Yeah! There's a
Oh
creepy
yeah, it kept shooing him away earlier.
Better already.
Hey, +5.
That was a patient. Phew.
Normal patient.
Okay, next one's yours.
Want me to do the next one?
Yes.
Hello.
I lost track of whose is whose. Let me go recheck now.
Hello. You look like you're from Australia.
Hello, I,
I
need
like
to see
your
a
hat.
doctor. Tell them it's Adrian.
I'm eating M&Ms.
Hello.
Sorry for the loud noise. That was me
Your
pouring M&Ms.
photo is spinning.
What? What? Oh, just. Oh, wow.
His photo had spinned. I'm gonna say we're not accepting him. Or maybe we should accept him and then exorcise him, right?
Maybe.
I'll just accept him. He'll be fine.
Stop wasting my time.
Please head through. Come on, sir.
I want to exercise.
You want to exercise? Alright.
I'll take the hit. Because if it's wrong, oh well.
Well, if
I hope this
it's
won't take long.
if it's wrong, we're both get the hit.
Yeah, but one of us gets a hit worse. Actually, I want to see. Is there anything wrong with him? 38.
Yeah, let's check all the
Oh!
dead. I guess we're exercising.
No, he's
him.
overtly alive. He
Oh,
is
yeah.
overtly alive. Oh? Cool.
I banished. Sweet. On the next one. So I was right. I didn't like the fact that his head turned on his photo.
Yeah.
Oh, hello there.
Who I am. Hurry up.
No, we do not know who you are,
Ooh.
Ulysses.
Alright, it's 41 with a broken leg. Come on in.
Hello, Rose. Not Rose. You're Rose right here. Hello, Miller.
Registered complete. You may go through now. Bum 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 ba da bum bum ba da da bum.
That sucks you went through that, Taylor.
Does this look bad to you?
Yes, it looks severely bad. We're gonna have to amp it. Alright, let's see. We got 36.3.
Oh.
Oh, fixing his leg.
Nope. Said to exercise if it was over 100.
Ah.
Oh, wow.
I didn't do anything.
What?
You should.
That said over 100.
Oh. There's a wheelchair coming through.
What?
Okay. Did you see the wheelchair that came through here?
No.
No? Okay. Must have been just me. Alright, sanity's at 15%. I'm probably gonna die soon. What do you think?
I'll be very quick behind you.
Oh, okay.
What? Oh,
Bed
no.
looks off. I should clean it.
Oh, no, we gotta
Ah.
run.
Good idea. I'll go clean off that bed. Bum, bum, bum. Dun, dun, dun. Are we supposed to clean off the bed every time?
Yay.
Nice.
I don't even think we're gonna survive night 1. And then we're gonna get Miller in here.
Hello, I paid $5 for VIP treatment.
Did they just say they paid 5 Robux for VIP
For
treatment?
VIP treatment. Do you want to go for this one?
Yeah, we'll do it.
Yeah. Sweet. All done.
I'm racing her. I'm gonna make it first.
She's gonna hold open the doors for her. Come on through. Thank you, my friend.
Feel dizzy.
We're sorry to hear that.
First of all, okay, we're normal there. 36, that works. Please be a normal person for once.
Oh, the Mona Lisa's just completely gone. Oop.
Oh, what is happening to her? Maybe we need to exercise her. Can I exercise her? I
I
cannot.
don't think so. Let's see.
Well,
Her temperature is 36.
there's nothing obviously wrong.
I think this is a normal person.
We hope it is a normal person. For what?
I
No!
hope so.
No! No, thank you. Can you see her like that? Is she standing up in the bed for you?
No, she's still laying down.
No! No!
Do I need to exercise her?
That may have been just a
Oh, yeah.
hallucination. I'm gonna just guess it was a hallucination.
Okay.
And if it was not, then we can at least know for next time.
I am exercising here.
Okay, well, let's see if this kills us.
That was.
I want a proper doctor.
I don't think that was good.
Oh, I guess we're dead.
Wait, did you die? What are you at?
I'm 0. I'm dead.
You're not able to walk around, or?
Nope, I'm dead. I'm getting a death screen.
Oh,
Not
no.
enough time.
Well, are you good with Miller joining us?
Dead. I get a creepy face on it.
Are you good if Miller joins us? Whoa!
Hello, I am dead.
Are you good if Miller joins us?
Yeah.
Cool,
Go
so...
back to the lobby?
Oh, yeah. Like,
Turn back to the lobby.
let's go get in a VC with Miller.
Sweet.
Go to my VC.
E. 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 E.
Abra, bra, 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 bra.
E.
Show me this gun.
FG. How have
I'ma
you
go
been?
I get to go see the new Spider-Man movie tonight.
Cool.
Yup, going to see it at 12 p.m.
I'm
Oh,
gonna go
wait,
grab
actually.
something real quick. I'll BRB. That means BR back.
I had no idea.
We've survived 0 nights.
Dear, 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 dear. Are you Andrew?
Maybe. I don't know.
Are
I
you
don't know who
ready?
that is. Yeah.
Oh, Curious George is in the lobby. What? What state are you going to, Taylor? Wow, Curious George. Y'all ready to go?
Yes.
Okay, come up to the thing right here.
Doo-doo.
Malarkey, come on.
Yeah.
Yersh. Oh, this is the best.
Ghosties.
Alrighty, I don't want any of these.
I got a third person.
You can't go third person. First person game.
I
Here,
see,
come
I
answer the
see.
phone.
Hello, my fellow newly employed doctor. I hear it's your first day on the job. Let's
Oh,
see,
we just have 2 people
anomaly,
chilling at in
exorcism,
here.
violent death, blah, blah,
That's
blah,
cool,
blah.
Taylor.
How much did they tell you on the... Never mind.
Does that mean if we
Since
have
your
these 2
patients you're
people
treating
in
are
here?
right. And in that case, you just need to...
Oh my gosh.
Did you just hang up on him?
A possibility.
I think he did.
A very high possibility. I don't know. Chamo.
I can't believe you.
Hello, I'd like an appointment.
Oh, Jesus!
Hmm?
What was that? Get me out of here. Good heaven. I got severely jump scared.
Finally.
The jump scares are just kind of random, right?
I don't know.
I feel weak.
Okay, Miller, go ahead.
that?
Looks like temperature is 36.5.
How do you do this? I can't connect the patient.
Is one side and then from the other.
82 BPM. Okay, he just definitely has a definitely.
Rose.
Kippa? Yes, the Mona Lisa.
How do I got the
She's
book of
not
night
crying
thing?
anymore.
Yeah, she doesn't have her neck broken and is crying.
I say we do this.
No, don't. That's gonna cost us sanity.
Yeah. So there's
She's a normal, average human.
How
Don't worry, you'll
Oh.
get to exercise a lot of people later.
Here,
How do I-
I'll fix the bone. Don't worry.
do you fix the bone?
Pushing E and then clicking on the stuff. This is why you should have listened to the guy.
Oh. I hit him. Sorry. Sorry,
I'll
sir. I
fix
didn't
him,
mean to
I'll
hit your
fix him.
face.
You can hit him?
I punched him in the face.
No, you
after
don't
I-
drop it. Oh, there you go. You got it. Okay, I thought you just dropped it on them. Like, no, we don't just drop
My bad,
our
my
patients.
bad, ma'am. My bad, ma'am. I did definitely would not drop.
What?
So
Did you hear that?
No.
Okay, I think I'm going crazy.
You may be doing crazy. Cool. I don't know. You are a crazy lady, so who knows?
Alright.
Yay! We did it.
And
Okay,
that's
next
over.
patient. I'll take the next
Misty, do you
patient.
want to do next?
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. To be honest, we should work in as a team, really.
We kind of do. It's just whoever gets to do the main majority of it. We're probably gonna be able to branch off by ourselves once we get more beds.
I'll be right back.
If we get more beds. Oh.
Walking backwards.
I'd like an appointment.
You know what? We'll
pretty
take
good
that.
I am. What was that? Ow.
Okay. Okay, I
guess
just
I'll
lost.
take the next one.
Yeah, I just lost.
You should have
Yeah,
definitely
Miller,
denied
save
that
me.
one, my friend.
I should have. I thought it was gonna be like the others.
Let the doctors know Daisy
Daisy
in the house.
Chan. Hello.
Miller, save me.
What's going on? What's going on?
Alright.
I just got chased by a guy that's red.
Well, this guy was the one before. Well then, I'll see you in the operating room.
Wait, what the heck? Misty?
Oh, what was that?
Misty, come out here.
What?
Misty?
I'm coming.
Misty, come out here.
What?
Oh,
Oh, hey,
deny
it's
that
me.
One. Deny that one.
Hey, accept it,
We
accept it,
don't
accept it, accept it.
We don't accept Misties.
Accept it. Did you?
What the
Oh.
fuck?
I told you not to accept it. We don't accept Misties here.
Oh, I just jump scared myself. And you don't accept me? Wow.
That was the best $2.
$2?
Yeah.
Did you just pay for that jump scare?
Yes, I did.
Oh my goodness.
That is 36
You guys, I think it's definitely.
Hi, Deshauna. Okay, she's fine.
70.
I'm gonna operate on this patient.
Ah,
Okay.
Alright. I'll get bandages next. Oh, he stood up. Hello, friend.
Not for
Did
me.
you guys all get that thing?
Mm-hmm.
Right, then it's isn't it a thing?
Did he stand up for you guys too?
Nope.
Yes.
That was a hallucination. I think.
But it happened much
Alright.
people.
I'm not seeing anything off about him. Everything. Oh!
Hmm?
This is not good for my heart.
You having heart issues now, Misty?
No.
10 points.
This
Let's
is the
go.
Misty Meadows YT having heart issues now.
You know I haven't gone by the Misty Meadows in forever.
The Misty Meadows YT, how are you doing?
Alright, Miller, then you can take this guy. Or girl.
Where's
Girl.
Someone help me register.
That is a British girl.
Hazel?
I don't like British people.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Go F off. Go F off.
What?
I don't like British people.
Are you paying for more jump scares, or is this just...
No.
Okay.
Definitely not.
That does not give me any confidence.
I don't feel
I would never.
Yeah.
Since you're British, I think you're gonna die.
See, here is. Oh, she's dead.
Hey,
I
exercise her! Go!
Yeah.
Click her!
Cooker.
Got her.
Nice.
Okay, we did it! First anomaly.
Hey.
Oh,
She's
good!
dead. We're moving on.
Miller, are you buying these? I did not get these as
What
much
was
as I have
that?
now.
Would never.
You 100% would. Miller! This is you buying it, isn't it? It's the exact same type of jump scare. Miller!
Would ever do that to somebody?
Miller!
Who would ever do that?
Channel.
To
You
somebody?
hate me.
You registered here?
Who would ever do that to somebody?
You! You would! This is 100% something you would do!
Oh, Misty, guess what?
Oh no. What?
I'm coming to Houston, Texas.
Oh, that's cool.
I have a layover down there.
I haven't
Hmm.
been sleeping well.
Sadly, that is not where I live.
Well, I know exactly it's not where you live, but
You do not know
you drive
exactly
over
where I
there.
live.
I used to.
Good.
Operation successful. We checked everything, right?
Hey, lapping. 3, 2, 1, lapped. Hey,
Oh no
shoot,
no
hey,
no no
shoot.
no! Exorcism, 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 please.
No, that's the only one you got it. You're the only one who got it.
No, when you yeah, see? I was right. Okay. So, this thing right here, do you see this, Miller?
Well,
This
no,
on my
yeah,
head?
yes,
That
sadly.
if you haven't grabbed it yet, grab it. That can also show if it's an anomaly or not. There was a monster in the corner breathing at me.
Ah, W's. No, Missy, you should drive down to Houston when I have my layover.
Isabel.
That is a very, very long drive.
Texas isn't that big.
Alright.
Seriously? Seriously?
Texas isn't the biggest state in the U.S.
Yeah, 'cause they don't live in Alaska.
I'm down to come down to Houston.
Freya?
I feel dizzy.
It'll be on the week.
Feel
Oh
dizzy.
no, we'll be on the weekend actually.
3.7.
75, and now to see if there's any anomalies in the room.
I didn't see anything.
Hey there.
So yeah, there is Rose. There was like an anomaly right in this corner, breathing at me.
Oh.
Right now?
No.
No, before on the last patient.
The one who The guy just tried to trap me in the storage closet.
Crazy. Misty's a crazy lady.
Just wait till you get the hallucinations.
Misty's a crazy little lady.
I am
mean,
not
okay.
crazy. I got it on recording.
Crazy little lady.
I have it on recording. I'm
Doesn't
not
know what
crazy.
she's talking about.
I have it on recording. I'm not crazy.
What recording?
I'll be fine now.
I'll be here now.
I haven't seen any recording yet.
She's
I'll
still
show
there.
you
believe
afterwards. You're just
I
an
don't
unbeliever.
believe it.
You're an unbeliever.
I guess I'll be here.
I don't believe it.
I can be desk lady.
I don't believe it.
Seriously, Miller.
I don't like this.
Stop.
Put the lights back on.
Powell. Where's this Powell box at?
I know where it is. Here, Miller, you go first.
Sister Clay's LA. I'm supposed to do in this Powell box. Fuck you. Stop touching it.
You're the only one touching it. Okay, give me a chance, Miller. Miller, give me a chance. Go
Hold on,
ahead.
I got it. Hold on, back up.
No.
This is all you guys.
Miller. That was directly just because you were mad at me.
Definitely no.
I know which ones are you now. I know which ones are you.
Best $5 I've ever spent in my life.
Okay.
Well, now I know it's you, Miller.
Well then.
Rose doesn't. Rose doesn't.
Rose doesn't flinch like I do. Rose just
I
goes,
would pay great money to see this, like the camera footage of this.
well,
Negative 4.6.
I got this. I want to do
Exercise
this.
them.
I got this.
Sweet.
I did it.
Yeah, good job.
I did it.
you're actually a lot farther than we were before.
I did it.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's all because of me.
it's 3
No, it's not.
a.m. now.
Oh, that's crazy, lady. Don't accept her. Don't accept her. Don't accept her. Don't accept her.
I will accept
Don't
her
accept
just
Denise.
to spite her.
Don't accept Denise. All the nieces that I know are crazy.
I've accepted her. Too late.
You know Denise?
I didn't know your niece was here.
I said you know Denise? Who's Denise?
No, I don't know your niece.
My knees? Stop touching my knees, man. 3.6. Fix their arms.
Did anybody else get that?
Bandages.
I got it.
The jump scare?
No. Oh. She's standing up for any of you guys? No.
Nope.
Ma'am, can you lay back down, please? Oh, man.
Ma'am, can you stop being crazy, please?
That did the trick.
So when she stands up, it's an hallucination,
So if
but
they get out of bed.
it's not.
If they get out of bed, that's
Normal.
Missy, when are you coming to Iowa?
I don't know. Oh, wait. Let Miller do it. Let Miller use it.
No.
Come answer
Miller,
the
answer
phone.
answer the phone.
No.
Come answer the phone. Hello there.
Hey, I need medical
Let it in, Miller, let it in. Oh, wow.
Goodbye.
Interesting.
Hey, can you unmute my soundboard real quickly, please?
No.
Please, I
What?
just need
No.
this. I just need to do it.
No.
I'm not gonna. What? I was just gonna play a funny
Welcome
soundboard.
here.
No.
I'm glad to see you today.
I promise.
Ah.
Oh.
The broken left arm?
Missy, just let me mute my sound really quickly.
No.
Wait, he's the same guy as this guy.
It's his twin brother.
His twin brother?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been sleeping well.
That sucks. I can't fix you.
Well, yeah, he's got a broken leg.
36. 36 seems really low.
36C is not low.
That's pretty low.
He's also... Yeah. Already.
I don't give a crap. No one likes you. No one likes you, Timothy.
Jimothy.
It's a new name, Timothy.
Well, to be honest, we already have him in the lobby, so it'd be weird to have another.
Yo, don't accept this guy. Don't
Steve.
accept Steve.
Oh,
Do not accept
Except
Steve.
Steve. Except Steve.
Hi,
Don't
Steve.
accept Steve, though.
Good to see you again. I hope you're doing better this time.
You literally did it. What do you mean don't accept Steve? You literally accepted him.
No, Steve's mine. He's my new boyfriend.
What?
Leave the room.
I think something's wrong with me.
I got you, Steve. You know that place.
He is 36.2. And he has 99 MP. Okay.
Interesting. That didn't scare me as much as it used to.
What?
You're in an okay place, Steve. You're gonna be okay. Can I have your phone number, Steve?
Oh.
What does that imposter check do?
I don't know.
It costs money.
Don't
That's
use
what
it.
it
We
is.
know he's good.
Do we, though?
Yes.
I should be okay now.
See?
Oh, nice, nice. So,
Mhm.
9 patients. This is not that difficult.
We're only on night one.
What night were you guys on?
One.
Oh,
We've only been on one.
Mm-hmm.
way easy. Okay, so easy.
Easy. Kind of
Okay.
crazy to me.
Oh,
That
great.
looks... I should...
I got this. I got this.
Hey, your feet are on there. I need to spray your feet now.
Clench the bed.
Hi, is this McDonald's?
Don't accept this guy. Do not accept this guy. Do not
So
accept
is
this
a
guy.
Wendy's.
Missy's crazy.
No, this is a Wendy's.
I'm running away from him. I'm running away from him. Just like The Shining.
He's coming for you.
He's coming.
Back away from me. I have great power and I have no responsibility.
With 38.0.
Dead.
Ah, he's also dead.
Ah, I got through.
Whoa, whoa.
He just invited you. Where is
Nice.
Is this night too
Oh,
mean?
sweet. We can just go.
We can just leave.
We can just leave.
We can just leave.
I'm leaving.
I'm out.
going home.
Oh, we made one mistake. We are proficient.
Who's gonna click night 3?
Okay, ready for next night?
Nope.
We're not playing. We're not playing night 3.
No, I'm not ready for this.
I am.
You know what? I'm gonna buy some expired pills.
Oh, we got a bunch
Okay.
of people all sitting in a row. So if we get anyone with these skins,
Did you just hang up on it? Seriously? Miller, stop hanging up on it. I actually haven't heard it before.
we need to listen to them.
Yeah, Miller. Come on. I actually don't know what to do now, because he, like, skipped the whole...
I'm here for my appointment.
I don't know what it was gonna tell us.
We'll figure it out. We got this. We got friendship out
You're
about.
figuring this out, because you're the one that skipped it. So anything we don't know, it's your job to figure out.
You look
We have
ugly.
another door. We can have a patient.
Is that what it's telling
Right.
us? We have another...
Probably.
And I'm sure there'll be, so from what I saw over here, there's
Yeah, they're here
also
now.
a medicine guide.
Well, Rose, do you want to help me with this patient? Miller seems oh so confident he can take that one.
If he does something wrong, we all get.
Oh well, we can just reset. And then actually hear what the person was saying. I didn't like that. Something borrowed its, like, voice earlier?
Oh,
Damn bad. Did anybody else hear that?
yes, we did
I
an
was playing as
exorcism.
Misty.
Our first patient was an exorcism. It had a 419 pulse.
Skill issue? Skill issue, what?
Hello, I'm Keegan. Shake me in place.
Hello, Keegan.
I thought he said shake me in place. It's like, what?
Oh, this is mine. This is mine. This is mine.
You sure?
Come over here, buddy. I will.
Is he yours?
I'm gonna have fun with you.
He turned on you.
Hold
Oh.
on. I'm gonna lock the door.
No, it's not
Get out.
yours. Not yours.
Get
It's
out.
ours.
Get
It's
out.
ours.
It's
No,
mine.
it's ours. It's ours.
touch
Go
him.
away. This is our door.
You're a heartbeat. Pointy.
Wait, why should we deny some of these guys?
We don't know.
If they're crawling on the ground or not in a wheelchair.
I don't think about the not in the wheelchair part. I think it's just when they're crawling on the ground or red.
I want to accept those guys though. What does this expired pill bottle do?
Oh no.
You haven't noticed the paint.
God.
Anything you think is worrying, Rose, about this patient?
Very, very unfortunate.
Rose?
Anything worrying? He looks asleep.
Yes, I see. I see.
I can breathe
Cool.
easier now.
Breathe easier. Hey. Did you banish?
I see.
Cool.
I want this one.
What one? There's none here yet.
There's nobody here. You want the wind? Have the wind.
You got a problem with the wind?
Hello,
Here.
I'm 5 Robux
You get
for
Kellen.
treatment.
Patreon.
Oh, you get the VIP guy, Helen.
You gotta give him the best
Well,
treatment
that's good, yeah.
ever.
An MC's will
He paid
change.
for this experience.
Unless he chooses our room, which would be hilarious. Let's see, what
I have
room
to
does he
leave in
choose?
20 minutes. By
He
the
chose
way,
your room. Good.
Misty and Rose, I have to leave in 20 minutes. By the way,
Oof.
Oh.
yeah, let's go to the movie.
Oh, nice. Movie you're gonna
The
go
main
see.
event just
But you
arrived.
gotta get to bed in 20 minutes.
No release in the house.
No.
Fire is broken out. Oh no.
Whoa, who set a fire?
Where's the fire extinguisher?
Who set the building on fire?
I saw the end of this place.
Where's the fire extinguisher?
We have to leave in 10 seconds. Go, 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 go.
Oh, we're
Ow.
cooked. My mouse isn't working.
Okay, I'm outside.
No, where's-
And he's inside. Hey, we survived.
My mouse isn't working.
Did you die?
No.
that one.
Bam!
I like this.
Get exercised. Negative 13 degrees, really.
I should not have taken these pills. I am tripping so bad. I am. Ooh, that felt good though. Like an Andre, a giant Mr. Elliot much. But use another man with a dust.
Next person.
Hello. You don't want Misty Meadows. You don't like her.
They chose me, sorry.
Something is
I got it. I got it. I got it. I got it. No, Misty, work on your patient.
Already here. Already
Work on your
here.
patient.
Already here.
No, work on your patient.
I'm already here.
Your patient has died.
Bam. Too slow.
Dumb.
Temperature is 30 degrees.
Anything when you go into the... Okay, they look okay. I'll let you do the dressing.
Yeah, have a do that. Over.
The doodad. Are you gonna go help him, Miller?
Hold on.
I'll do it for you.
Oh,
No.
I'm touching him. I'm
Nice.
touching the butt.
Get out of here.
that's great.
Don't like you.
Everyone likes me.
I hate you.
You're welcome.
Good job.
Wake go. Don't give him away from your face. So.
Doing fire.
This is in Cedar Rapids. Ugh.
Norman.
Oh,
Not
Um,
accept.
Accept this person. Trust.
Yeah.
This is the day you lost your chance to help Norman.
Why wouldn't you? Why didn't you accept him?
I didn't want to die.
Yeah.
The bottle, money ain't a thing. When you party with me, it's what we do. We both party have control like you wouldn't believe.
Norman.
Oh, here you can let this person in.
You can take that one.
Yes, Blaze and Misty.
You
paid for
probably
this one?
yeah, I know you paid for this one.
Who paid for it?
You.
It wasn't me.
Has to be you. Well,
It-
go ahead.
wasn't me.
Accept them.
It literally wasn't me. That's the thing.
All right, you can go help me, I guess.
It literally wasn't me. But okay.
What did I have? A broken arm, a broken leg?
I don't know. Please go to Misty Zoom. Please go to. Ah, dang it.
No pictures.
Blaze
Oh,
and Misty. Oh, wait,
I'm
what the?
having. Oh no, somebody else. Okay, Rose, you got him. Rose,
It's mine.
the cardiac arrest is
Where's
ours.
he going? Going to the second room.
How to help with? I don't know.
Guys, guess what?
Kind of busy.
Blaze and Misty is not gonna be okay.
Kind of busy.
No.
Saving a heart attack victim.
You shouldn't have let me go.
What do you mean shouldn't have let you go?
Yeah, it was a guy. It was an anomaly.
An anomaly?
Yeah.
Am I an anomaly?
No. Sadly.
I had a broken leg.
I didn't pay for this one though. That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't me.
Thank-
Wasn't.
Misty, did you have a twin for some reason?
Oh, I have somebody I need to reject out here.
Why? No, accept him, I want him,
No, because he just jump scares you.
accept it.
First.
Oh, you just
What?
treated an anomaly.
How? There was nothing there.
Probably because it was me.
Casey,
Uh.
Hurts, can I get help?
I'm pretty sure anyone with any of the patients that are here.
There's nothing wrong with Crazy Misty. BS.
Well, you're gonna go help your patient, or are you gonna let them just sit there?
I thought it was your play mission.
It's your patient, look.
Oh,
Straight
good.
ahead.
Hi, I need medical help.
I will accept Ronnie.
Fine. Didn't help.
I guess you're not allowed to freak out during a cardiac arrest.
Why would you be able to?
Okay. Nothing in the room, though Rose did scare me there for- oh? Oh, looks like Miller lost his
My
patient.
patients escaped.
Oh, there he is.
You found him?
Sir, come down from there.
So, I will straighten you to this bed. I have tools under my bed to straighten you.
I am glad that Rose found them. Cool.
Oh.
We don't really care about think, we just don't want to lose our sanity here.
Yeah, we lose our sanity, we're dead.
Yeah, so sorry man, it's not really personal.
Hey, so I've been waiting for like 3 seconds. This
Sir,
is
we're-
unacceptable.
Bro, 3 seconds? Seriously?
32 broken
Oh, then I'm a criminal.
3 seconds. Let's complain about 3 seconds.
Come on in.
Hey Rose, what do you think of my OC? You good, Miller?
What?
Oh, go clean it, Miller.
My mouse is not working.
Go clean it, Miller.
My mouse isn't working. I have no mouse.
Go clean it, Miller.
37
Crazy
for
lady.
3. Weird and like...
This. Practically nothing to be able to save anything.
Let me know if you see anything.
I saw nothing.
Okay.
Nothing suspicious.
I almost died, by the way.
Good for you.
There's a faceless patient out here.
Yeah, don't accept that person.
Dude, why are you on the ground?
Not on the ground for me, that's a hallucination.
So,
Mm-hmm.
10 more minutes, sadly.
go.
Take care.
Patient.
On without a hitch.
I shall exercise you. Be gone.
By the way, I love your Venus.
You like it?
She looks.
Hmm?
That's
You,
not, by the
you
way.
cut out.
They look fabulous.
Thank you. That OC of mine.
I am 17 sanity, by the way.
How did you mess up that? Oh, he has last patient. How did you mess up
Yeah.
that much?
I had faceless patient
Go.
faceless patient killed me.
Bruh. Killed you?
I had well, I had to look at him to do the thing.
Point four. This is a normal patient.
Here, let me do the last thing.
He's already got it.
Well, then I guess you're gonna have to deal with...
Much better.
Okay, cool.
There you go.
We leave now. And I guess you're leaving, Miller?
Alright, like 9 minutes.
Because me and Rose could move on to the next game.
What's the next game?
I don't know. We'd have to look around in Roblox. We'll probably find something pretty quickly.
Okay. Go look then.
Let's see. What would be fun?
Shooting each other. Shooting games. Yes, DOS.
Would you be up for a little bit of Simon Says, Rose? I want to play Death's Order. Do you go with that, Rose?
Sure.
Cool. Oh, I need to check if they have music that it can't do. Settings. Mute game music, mute dance music. Alright, well, I...
Lost property will be redistributed to the survivors.
Get here. Okay. So I've muted the music so that I can stream this game. You ready, Rose?
I'm ready.
VIPs enjoy exclusive privileges. The gas, however, is the same for everyone. Every inmate receives 3 lives. Spend them wisely.
Should I get to the movie theater 30 minutes early, or should I stay on?
You should go.
For your
Go to the
safety,
movie.
there is no safety.
Hello? Hello, hello, hello?
Goodbye.
Hello.
There we go. Alright, and then people can hear in-game sounds. Cool. Everything broke.
Dead men can bend.
Oh no.
Find the odds when you're available.
Okay, you coming, Rose? Come on, let's go.
No.
Oh wait, no wait, that...
They're fine.
Are you in it?
I'm in.
Wait, I'm not in, Rose!
You're not in?
No!
Well.
Please be like day.
So. Do that. Okay, I'm here.
Sorry,
Oh, that's
Rose.
That's alright.
Let's go. Now we go through.
Simon only says it once.
Yeah.
I'm in. Yay, we're in together! Oh, Soup's in! Soup's in VC, stream. Soup's in stream.
Hi, Soup.
Soup. And they're telling you to stop throwing.
Welcome to Death Order.
Death Order.
Oh my gosh, the SCP one.
Huh?
I wish I. It's an
S-
SCP.
SCP. I don't get it. Where?
It's an SCP outfit.
Oh.
Remember,
Really?
it's only a trap if you fall for
Yeah.
it. It is always a trap.
SCP inmate. I thought.
That would be cool. Alright, I'm in. I've gotten pretty good at this, so... Oh, I've learned do not go in the middle.
36 of you have entered. Only one will leave.
Oh, that's interesting. An update
I
came.
got a brick now.
And die.
Oh, that sucks. There's no longer OP over here.
Follow exactly. when I do not say, Simon, do not move. Your first round begins now.
How do you walk like that, Rose? Oh, wait, no, that's a dance.
Advance.
Watch out, somebody wants to fight you.
Simon has given a player a bear trap.
They always give a player a bear trap, and I've never gotten a bear trap.
Gotten a knife before.
I've not.
Simon says jump.
Whoop. I wonder if there's anything new. This guy has the bag over his head now. Where's our coffee?
Simon says crouch.
Crouch! I see where they placed the bear trap. It's a good thing we're upstairs. Ooh! Seriously?
Simon says sit down.
Oop, that's why I like being upstairs. There's the airy person who put the bear trap.
Airy.
Airy.
Oh.
Well,
Ow.
guess they're not a good person.
No. We survived.
We survived, but with what cost? This person just really wants to attack us!
Stand on the tables.
Great. Airy, I do not like you. Go away. What is this person's obsession with me? No, I will get this other person. You know what? I'll take the bus. Great. Well, I survived. Stupid person. I do not like Airy.
Simon has planted a bomb on a player.
Well, glad we're upstairs.
I'll crank this water vault with me.
Simon says jump.
Jump.
Simon says crouch.
Got this. Incredibly quiet. Thank you for telling me.
Simon says sit down. Simon says jump.
Pretty easy to do.
Simon says lunch has begun.
Lunch. How's it now, Soup?
Simon has released a cake.
Oh, great. Well, this shouldn't be too much of an issue.
We're all standing inside of each other for some reason. Hey, we did it! We did the thingy.
Watch out. Watch out below. Rose! Watch out. Ooh. Glad you didn't die.
Simon says go to bed.
Ooh, hey, I'm 3 this time. Or 5. I'm 5.
I'm
wow, how did I think
4.
3? Oh, yeah! 4!
Hey, we're buddies. Waking up, my dream being cancelled.
Well, I'm going back upstairs.
I'm going to my movie. Peace out, everybody.
Says go to the cafeteria.
Hey, it's a good thing I was already on the way to the cafeteria.
Misty, Lowe's, have a good day.
Bye, you too.
Bye.
Oh no, this could be the last person to the bottom floor wins. Or dies. I'm ready for it.
Simon says last person
Knew it!
to
Knew
the
it! Knew it! Knew it!
basement
Knew it! Knew it!
dies.
Yeah! First one to the basement. Whoa! I ended up flying. I jumped
Fell
straight.
all the way down.
Yeah, I jumped all the way down.
Well done.
Ooh.
I love this new little dance.
Simon says go to the cafeteria.
Oh, great. Are we gonna have to jump down again? Here we go.
Just injure our legs once more.
I'm ready. I'm ready for the injury. Everyone just loves to
Simon
fight.
says choose a door. Choose wisely.
I choose blue, as always.
Choose the right.
Yay!
Simon
Of course, a
is
lot of the
beginning
fighting
the
people
trial.
got it. Come sit, Rose. Yay!
Watch that.
Watch them all get tortured. Oh, yay! The Aaron fellow was one of them. I don't like them after they attacked me. Some people just really like to fight.
They get bored.
That's so.
Well done. This concludes the trial. Go to bed.
Oh, get out of your bed.
That.
Get out, Rose, get out.
You said go to bed, not don't stand in your.
I know, but it counts being in your bedroom as going to bed. Now it will say go to bed. I'll be in my bedroom when it does.
Simon says go to bed.
I think someone's gonna die. Oof. No.
Nope.
Just waited out the entire time for whatever reason.
Inmates for me.
Well, that was very interesting. Look at all the people on the floor dead. How do people already lose all their lives?
By being dumb.
Guess so, I'm going back upstairs.
Simon says lunch has begun.
Again, we just woke up, it's breakfast. It's not lunch, it's breakfast. Breakfast.
I'm just. It's not.
Simon has planted a bomb on a player.
Careful, Rose.
Simon says go to the basement.
Oh, great. Rose, watch us out of... Rose, don't
Simon
die.
is preparing the obby.
Oh no, the obby with a bomb.
How interesting.
This is definitely gonna be
Complete
interesting.
the obby.
And there goes a bunch of people dying. Go die! Go die, people! Even the person with the bomb's gonna go and die. Running.
Simon says last one to complete the obby dies.
Okay.
Well, I got 3 coffees now. Last one to complete it dies.
No. That's probably
Don't die, Rose, don't die. This is an easy obby.
obby. I can't even get past the first obstacle.
Oh. Oh, and I just died. So, I have 44 seconds. Rose, look, you made it this far.
Yeah.
And I'm only right behind you because I fell down. Now you just gotta get through a couple more of these. Yeah, you got it, Rose. Ooh. I almost didn't. Did you fall?
Yeah.
I'll complete it. I died. Don't know if I can get it done in this amount of time. Those stupid wall jumps, man. I've never died from this hobby, but seriously, now is the first time. Yeah. Well, first life lost.
Simon says get on the first floor.
First floor, first floor. And people died.
Simon says last person to the basement dies.
Oh, well, it's a good thing I was already in the basement.
Well done.
Musical chairs.
Musical chairs, musical chairs. Come on.
Simon says go to bed.
Really?
Aw.
Get us all riled up just to have this.
Inmates remain.
Simon says return to your cells.
Oh no. Never had that one. That might be new with the new update. Okay. In our cells.
Simon is choosing 2 players.
Oh, this
to
one.
do.
Okay, no, we have had this one before. Please, not me. I don't duel.
2 players.
Okay,
have
whew,
been
not me.
chosen
Not
to
you.
do.
Good.
Simon says do.
Or they have a gun. That's not fair. Oh, gun and a knife. Okay.
Who's gonna win?
I don't know. You never bring a knife to a gunfight. You never bring a gun to a knife fight. They're fighting downstairs. Oh, they both have a knife. Okay. We'll see who dies first. Watching out the corner of my eye. Oh, funny.
Simon says go to the basement.
Basement! Musical chairs, musical chairs. Seriously, I just got pushed. Musical chairs, musical chairs, musical chairs, musical chairs.
Simon is preparing
Yes!
musical chairs.
Yes!
Simon says when the music stops, find a seat.
Yay!
Only if I say so.
Only if they
Good
say
luck.
so. So excited.
Simon says sit down.
Oh, really? Get it! No! Aww. Somebody got out of their seat too.
Simon says sit down.
Yes! I got it. And hey, the fighting people are the ones that died. Let's do this. I got one.
Simon says sit down.
Got it. Yeah, Ari died! Yeah! No, they didn't. Darn, I was so excited.
Well done.
Well done!
This
Rose,
concludes music
you're on your last
repairs.
life, aren't you?
Yes.
You gotta be really careful with you. You're
Simon
fragile.
says go to bed.
You're so fragile. Backroom survival? Rose, you have to play in backroom survival after this? Backrooms survival. Let's try backrooms. Why not? Rose. Did you hear what I said? Are you up for some backroom survival
Yes,
after
backroom
this?
survival.
You.
Sure.
Do it
I might
after
want
this.
to grab something to eat first.
Alright.
Or rather, grab a drink.
Oh yeah, I might need a drink too.
Simon says lunch has begun.
Again,
Look
it's
at my camera.
breakfast. It's not lunch. It's breakfast.
Guess what?
Food has begun.
Guess what?
Middle of streaming. What's up? Well.
Chicken butt.
Simon has planted a bomb.
Chicken butt.
Oh, okay. Well,
Oh no, I see.
I'm fine. I gave it away almost instantly.
Ah, good.
I'm now just hiding out in the basement. Just waiting for the bomb to blow up.
I'm gonna come hang out with you.
Yeah, come hide in the corner with me. Actually, wait, let's go up here.
What?
Let's go up here. We're technically on the first floor. This is a great place to hide until the seeker knows about it. It's so funny. First floor, basement. First floor, basement. Hey, we lived!
Hello.
Hello.
I think he's stuck.
Hmm. Interesting. Oh.
Stuck on
Simon?
giant bomb.
Simon?
Simon says vote for the
Ooh,
next
okay.
event.
Don't be a first person then.
Oh.
I want...
Gas.
I don't want gas cells. I'll do 2 doors though. Vote 2 doors with me. I don't think we want the killer. I'd be okay with killer.
Killer's pretty easy.
Killer's easy, especially
Yeah,
for
look,
here.
this spot, kill me. It does.
I'll vote killer.
Killer got it.
Simon has released a killer.
Good luck, killer. Somebody already died. She faded. It's a horror game. Kind of, but you fight back. You fight back in backroom survival? Okay. We'll try it after this game.
Simon has given a player a gun.
Finally! I haven't given a gun. I now have a way. I could shoot Aaron if I wanted to.
Alright, do not go to bed.
Well, I'll still go towards my bed because that's the next one's gonna say. Who's gonna die? Who's gonna die? Nobody died. I'm ready though. Is sleep a free trial of death? Oh. Possibly.
Simon says go to bed.
Told you.
There's mermaids.
I just accidentally locked myself in my room. Where's the Rosith? Hides the Rosith. I should have gotten the one that you did. Yeah, and I'm
Simon says return to your cells.
Oh no, not another duel. I don't want a duel. Don't make me duel. I don't wanna. I don't wanna duel. You're still dancing. Wait, there you are. Here, I'll dance with you. Right now we're all dancing. No!
Oh. Breathing gas.
What? Oh? 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 Oh no, this is the race.
Welcome to Lockstep.
Lockstep? I haven't played this one before.
Simon says do not sprint until I say so.
Oh, okay. Do not sprint until they say so.
Simon says reach the red line. Simon says don't move.
Okay.
Move.
Nice.
Simon says walk.
Walking?
Simon
no.
says sprint.
Okay. They can have all that. I'm going.
Simon says don't move. Move.
Dang it! Ah! Okay.
Simon says walk.
My God.
Crouch.
Oh, we're all stuck. Oh no, and you died.
Yep. Finished in 8.
Here, I'll leave so we can go to the next
Simon says
game.
lunch has begun.
No, wait.
It's fine. I like playing with you, but when you're not there, it's not fun. Let's see, back room survival. There's a lot of them. Okay, so they said back rooms survival. I think this one's it. Alright, join me. We'll get to see what this is. Yeah. Yeah, if you're gonna drink, I'll get a drink.
Let's grab a drink.
Hi, Soup. What's up? What's up, Soup? You say my name, Soup? Yes, Soup. Apariophobia is the best backrooms game? Way before the movie came out. Need to play it? We'll do one round of backroom survival. And then we'll move on to Apariophobia. Is scary and best stream one. Oh no, that's scary. If this isn't... I hope this is multiplayer. Oh, I guess I'm doing tutorial. Let's see this. Another cycle begins. Welcome to the LSFC training facility. Let's get those muscles of yours to move. Okay. I'm moving! I'm doing the tutorial. You can join and guide for a little. Oh, yeah. That'd be great. Oh my goodness, my legs go into me. What? You can't join us now? Left shift to sprint. Okay. Cool. Okay, you're good to go. Set all. Is that the entirety of the tutorial? Walk up to items and pick them up. Collins. Proceed to the next area. Ow. There we go. Fancy looking crates, yeah. Those crates have varieties on them based on their color and their stripes. So, blue. Looks like no one's going to look after those crates. Use your melee to break them. Oh, okay. Cool. Rarity based on type. Okay. These crates can be found everywhere throughout the liminal spaces. Okay. Moving on to the next area. Looks like our way to the section is currently under maintenance. Why don't we take a reroute over to that hallway? Great. Test dummies are having some problems and blocking our way. Why don't we use that bat you picked up and use it to whack those dummies, okay? Let's go. We can also block their attacks by using the Q key. Now go ahead and fend them off. Q. Cool. Show them who's boss. Cool. You got them good. Now proceed to the next area. Okay. Let me proceed. Thank you. Okay. Are you ready to get locked and loaded? Welcome to the armory. Hi. Okay. I know, not exactly Fort Knox. Look at that guy at the counter. He must have something to approach him with E to interact with him. Grab yourself some tactical ammo. Some handgun ammo. Okay. Feels like you're not ready. Now you've got some that goes bang instead of thud. No, I don't. Try not to waste it. Bullets don't exactly grow on trees down here. They don't. Anyway. Go to the next door. Let me in! Thank you. Ooh, gun. Take that. Oh, I have... If I could pick up it, I would. How do I drop stuff? Alrighty. Wow, would you look at that? You're holding it the right way around. Mostly. Great. Try not to shoot yourself in the foot. Bullets are expensive. Feet aren't. Feet aren't? It's not the best thing we can give you, but it still works well. Why don't you give it a look? Press F to inspect it. Now when you want to press U to unload the magazine. Well, the magazine's empty. We'll take what I can get. R to reload. Cool. Professional. Okay. Center mass. Yeah. Headshots deal more damage. Let me into the next room. Let me in. Where are you going? Why? What? Why don't you store some of your items on the crate? What if I don't wanna? Shoot. Okay, thank you. Approach it. I'll... Ooh. Okay, I stashed it. All my tools inside? Fine. Locked away, safe and sound, yada yada. Can I have my stuff back? That's how you actually make progress down there. Nice. Let's go. Now here we are. Where are we? The door is just right there, but it looks like it's locked. Chem? The only way to open it is by putting in the passcode. Must be a code in the room somewhere. Check servers. Find the code. Not seeing anything. Oh, 7324. I'm trying to proceed. Oh, hey. I'll take a street light. Or a steel light. Last room. Oh, shucks. There must be electrical outlets somewhere in here. What's with the electrical outlet? Why? Repair. Bam. 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 Let there be light. Okay, looks like you're well prepared now for the real journey. Ooh. Head to the next door and go experience the real exploration. Terrifying. Did you get a drink yet, Rose?
Yes, I get it.
I'm gonna go and try and run and get a drink while I'm loading in.
So
Alright, are we in the same lobby? No.
I'm still on the tutorial.
Alright, I'll walk around a bit. Is that okay? Or do you want me to wait for you?
How did you do the electrical outlet one?
The electrical outlet is by the exit door. So the next room, you just connect the colors.
It's not letting me.
Hmm? Why not? What? It let me. I just clicked on it.
Oh.
You can't be in first person.
Alright.
Ooh, yay, you joined me.
Yay.
Alright, I'm pushing play then. I think we can run into each other. I hope we can run into each other. Okay. Nice. Ooh, getting started. Oh, that takes a lockpick, huh? Can't just beat it up. Okay. Ooh. Fist. Okay. Adamant. Outlet. More boxes. Did you spawn in, Rose?
Yes, I did.
Let me see if we spawn at the same place.
I guess we're
at... see you, but I also know that I ran away from spawn. Yeah, no, I don't see you. The number of lights in the hall multiplied by the chairs in the room, then multiplied by 12 is the answer? Oh, to that. Well, I'm gonna explore a bit more. But I think I found the exit, so I just can't lose my way. I hope this is multiplayer.
keep finding cans. Almond can. Oh, what's that?
Probably shouldn't be using up too much of my stamina.
Wait.
Okay. There is an exit. There seems like there's multiple exits from the other arrow I saw, but I'm here for you. Only reason I'm still walking around is because I saw you and didn't go to you. Oh. Steel light, basic flashlight. They're the same exact thing. Great. Oh, I found somebody else. That's great. And they're not an NPC. Got a credit card with money in it.
Two shadowy figures. Fall.
Ow! Why does this person want to attack me? Being chased.
Oh, a bunch of black goo over there. Do not go that direction. Gonna go this way.
Ooh, I think I... Nope! Dang it. This person's trying to kill me.
Why would they do that?
I don't know, but they have a knife.
Next one.
They're still chasing me.
Oh, I guess do not stare at Mac.
I have a way to protect myself. Oh no, what was the button to get up, please.
Q's to block.
Q to block? I'm dying.
Yes.
This person killed me. I didn't think I'd die like this from another player?
Oh.
Is this another player? This may not even be another player. Oh, this is not even another player. Great. Well, I'm bleeding out now. Oh,
Have any
goodness.
luck?
Other players can revive me? Well, I don't think anyone's gonna find me. Yeah, I'm dead. That sucks.
Must pull the first lever.
Well, I had my first death. That sucked.
You're gonna find the gate. Oh, I'm scared.
Strong. I thought it was invincible. I had a knife. But no.
There's some creepy guy.
Don't leave without me, Rose.
I think it was more. Yes.
Who is this? H vanishes.
I pulled the.
I'm
the
sure
lever
it
I
did.
believe.
Now it's back in the same area. It won't move. What is it? It's a dummy. I'll take the glow stick.
Oh, there's another person here.
I'm trying to find you, Rose. Please don't leave the starting area so I can find you.
I won't leave. I'll stick right by the gate lever thing.
Okay. I'm right now going around trying to find... Ooh, I got a hatchet. That helps me out a lot, actually. Ooh, hey, here's where I first spawned. Okay.
If we're contained in the first area, that means you can probably follow a wall around.
That's a
Fine,
regular
yeah.
person. Well, I found a room with a bunch of chairs. And a hint to how to open it, but I don't want to go without you. Almond. Oh?
If you want, I can follow one of the walls.
Yeah, let's do that. I want to find you first of all. I keep finding other players though.
Yeah, there's a player right here.
Found a vending machine.
I'm kind of hiding from the.
Cool, I used a vending machine. Oh, hey, I found a big door.
A big door.
Oh, and someone just got locked in.
Oh.
I don't know how the door opens. Oh no, it just opens and closes, okay. Oh, I found a safe zone, I
Whoa.
guess? Well, if you ever see any, like, gates... You saw the gate?
Yeah, the gate opened.
Wait, are you at the gates? I'm at the gate.
Yes, I'm at the gate.
Oh no, there's multiple gates.
Oh no. Should I stay in the first area?
Yeah? I'll look
I'll
for the
start
second
following
gate.
this wall.
We should be able to run into each other.
Yeah.
I don't see why not. We're not even gonna play this game, like, fully. It's just gonna be the game of try and find each other.
Oh, there's just a random shovel standing up. Oh, there's a glow stick. A glow stick.
Oh, cool. I want to stash.
I'm just gonna follow the left wall. Oh,
Shall
look,
stash
another
that
glow
and that.
stick.
I only have a glow stick and a hatchet.
I know this wall is attached to the outside. Therefore, if I follow this wall, I will not be led astray.
Well, I'm in the dark place, and I got told that the dark place is where monsters are, so... I'm gonna go back to the bright place. I'm not ready to deal with monsters yet.
Oh, I see where. I see the dark place.
You're
Where it's
near the
like
dark
none
place?
of the lights are on.
Yeah. Got mixed vegetables.
I'm right at the edge of it.
But I don't know what edge, though.
Which? Oh, I found a flashlight.
That's good. Alright, I'm looking around for one. I'll go around the
guess I'll
dark
go on the
place.
other.
Ah, that's the Sith person.
I don't know if I want. I'm not sure if I want to go in the dark, so.
I don't want to go in the dark place either, so I do not blame you. What is over here? I found...
I'll start following the other side of the wall.
I found a door.
A door?
Yeah.
This guy keeps getting chased by things.
I'm gonna just look around this place. I won't leave you, I'm just looking for loot.
Oh, found another...
Yeah, I'm gonna go for patrol. Please keep this place safe, Steve. Well, this guy is a traitor. Okay.
Don't have enough space.
You have a gun? Oh, lucky. Oh, I can buy stuff.
Glow stick.
Oh, wow, I can buy stuff. I can get a vest.
I got...
Get ammo. I don't think I need anything there, but I would like a tactical light. Tactical light, supposedly military grade. Yeah, sure. Out here in the back rooms, it's just me, moldy blanket, and overpriced. Bright enough to see the nightmares coming up. Bright enough. You're rich after wasting 300 credits on it. Power is better.
Sofas.
I'll spend money on that.
Halfway in the ground.
You need level 2 survivor. Okay, fine. Won't buy anything from you then.
When I follow the wall, both directions lead me to the dark space. Which I'm assuming is not where we're...
I'm not in the dark space, at least. I found a random guy. That's an NPC. Oh great, another NPC. With a knife!
No.
2 NPCs with a knife are killing each other. The NPC is dead. I'm not gonna stick around any longer.
I guess I'll go into the...
I'm wandering around.
Have a gun.
I've just heard a growl and I'm not happy. What is that? Okay, I think I found the other door you were talking about. Or I just went backwards. I think I just went backwards. Well, I'm back at my door.
Oh. I'm following a wall. Wall will not lead me astray.
Well, if you see a door, just tell me.
I see a red guy with a knife.
Flashlight and empty bottle, nice. Finally got a flashlight. I was for sure I saw...
Oh, I see. 2 lights. Oh, I don't like the... Do you know, have you run into the big blob things?
No, I have not.
Like there's...
That's worrying. Oh, wait, I'm running out of water. Hold on. I need water.
Crazy. It's like a little mound of black, and it kind of emanates mold spores.
I have not, though that does sound terrifying.
Like 3 of them.
Okay. Interesting. I will now know to avoid that. I definitely do not know where you are. And another empty bottle. Do not know what to do with them. I at least have a hatchet?
Oh, nice.
If that means literally anything.
Oh, those windows?
Oh no, I just put my light in here. I need my light back.
Oh.
I don't know how to find you.
Viewing plat.
Ooh.
Found a viewing plat.
Found a
that
second
overlooks a
glow
big
stick.
area.
I have found the dark place. Second dark place. Maybe the first. I honestly don't know where I am.
I'm just following the wall.
I'm just running.
Wall will not lead me astray. Oh.
Oh. This makes me think of the TADC. I heard static. Not a fan. Kinda curious. But still not a fan.
If you see like a shadowy dark figure with a smile, do not look it in the face.
Heard. I'm just gonna run away from the static. Oh wait, I hear another pair of feet? Or I'm hallucinating.
I am bravely walking through the place.
I found credit token. I have found somebody else called Extreme. Okay.
Very dramatic lighting here. Oh, I found another person. They have a flashlight. Oh, those are guards. Guns. I should avoid them. Oh my. What is this? Oh! Oh, this is the safe space. Stay sane. Yo! Nice. Objective. Okay. I found... Have you run into a safe space?
No, but I am doing a little puzzle. I don't know. Found a room.
Liquid paint.
Oh, I messed it up.
Careful.
No.
Apparently, if you have red drinks,
hold on.
they can cause harm.
Okay, I did that. I'm doing a memory game in a room where everything looks the same. So I'm doing my best right now.
How do you... How does drop? Just build.
Locking in.
Really huge.
Did I do it? Oh, wow. Cool. I got a machete. No way.
Yo. Nice.
I just got a lot of stuff for completing this. Oh, I'm so happy.
Nice. I should definitely meet up at the safe.
Okay, what can I get rid of?
Very security guards out. So it is in like the middle dark space. Be careful. think I'm back where I started. I'm not going that black. So I'll just
What do you mean you don't have enough inventory space for this item? My inventory is almost full. It's almost empty, I mean.
Oh yeah, definitely do not drink the red. It just
What? So it's either the visitors or the fire axe. Great. I'm gonna choose everything else over the fire axe. Okay, well... I don't know, dude. I'm not happy with leaving this stuff. I wonder if I can find... one of the boxes to save stuff in. Nope, not my friend. Not my friend, not my friend, not my friend. No! Okay, I have too much weight in my stash. Is that the issue? What weighs the most? Everything weighs the same. Okay, great. Too much weight in my inventory.
come. Oh, and a flash.
Well... Okay.
This way. Follow the arrow. Lead. Oh, there's a zombie. Hi there. If I follow you?
Okay, so I believe if I go back over here, I should be able to just grab the stuff that I left behind, right? Yeah. Please don't be... Okay, you're here. What do you mean you don't have enough inventory space? Well...
Oh,
I don't have enough inventory space? What?
Oh, this is a bigger thing.
I want the food. Dang it. Okay. This sucks having to choose.
Step.
Well... Okay. Well...
Oh, I need to be level 10? Okay.
Aw, man. Oh, hey, but it's full again. Nice. Oh, no, I just got a bunch of cribbits. What are you? You're the fire axe I've been trying to fit. Okay, we're Get rid of you. Get rid of you. Can I now hold the fireman's axe? No. Why? What if I want the fire axe? I guess I can't have what I want. What if I throw this down? You now accept me. You were the issue all along.
Oh.
Finally have a fireman's axe. A fireman's axe and a hatchet.
Following the wall, the wall, the wall. Following the wall, the wall.
You still haven't run into me.
Nope, it's a really big place.
I can tell.
What does it say? Do not go to the dark. Okay.
Well,
Duck.
I have a visitor's card and a bunch of weapons. Barely any room for anything. Great.
Oh, look, an arrow.
I think I got a little too greedy there.
I'll go this way.
Greed
Ooh,
really does do
I
things
found
to you. huh?
Random stuff.
Can't believe we still haven't ran into each other.
Oh, there's a...
Ooh, wait, I need that credit card. Can I buy more space? Oh? Can I now have 2 crumpets?
Oh, thank you, Mr. Police Officer Man.
I now have 2 crumpets. Well, finding you is going to be the issue because I have found everyone but you. And I now have a bunch of knives. So,
Who would you say you've ran into?
I don't... The Sith.
The Sith?
Mm-hmm.
Like their username's the Sith, or?
Yeah.
There's a guy over there.
Get it? Nice. Can't pick up anything though.
Found a random guy in black outfit.
I'm doing this and I can't even pick up anything. Take some handgun ammo. Machete.
Oh, he's making sure I'm following him. Oh, night. Better not be leading me to death.
Where'd my crabbit go?
The arrow.
Taking a
You wanna
crabbit.
get
I already have a
arrows?
machete.
I think the guy I'm following is just an NPC. Just running
They
around.
have no name over their head, then yes.
They look like they're like a survivor or whatnot. Oh, jeez. Follow the arrow.
I can't believe I still haven't found you. Oh, have you found a room where it's like, bunch of holes in the ground?
That hatchet. The room with what?
Holes in the ground.
I
have seen guys in all black though.
I'm just following this NPC guy. I guess he knows where he's going.
We're going through 2 different adventures. All trying to just lead back to each other.
This guy's running in circles. Oh, look, an arrow. I should follow the arrows, shouldn't I?
I don't actually know.
Look, light. I'll go towards the light. Oh, the arrow's pointing this way.
I'm just running around randomly at this point. I'm kind of getting bored.
Oh, hello. Why do you have a knife, sir?
So funny, I started off not being able to find anything, and now I'm finding everything. Have you seen couches in the ground?
I have seen couches.
In the ground?
Can you
Oh
stop?
goodness, I'm being chased.
Yes, in the ground.
I've just came across couches in the ground. How long ago did you see couches in the ground?
That was a while ago, before I died.
Oh great, you died?
Just once.
Well, shoot. I'm apparently close to where you've been. I found something that said exit question mark.
I'm drinking some almond can. Glow stick.
Oh, I think I found the exit.
Oh,
Well, that's
nice.
not helpful. I need you. It was literally in an area that said exit question mark. It's like, I can't go without you. And now I've just found another door.
I'm lost in the dark area. I'm following a wall now.
Starved
like the
here.
walls
I
do
don't
not
know
lead.
how long we can last. Our rations are running low. Funnily enough, I have all the rations in the world, so... Funnily enough, I have too much stuff. You guys got stashes right there. Well...
The mold. The mold is chasing us.
I still have not seen this
Was
mold
that
you're
credit card?
talking about. Yes, I picked up many credit cards.
Ooh, credit card.
Oh, I have found people with guns.
Are they blue?
Yes. I have followed blue
Nice.
people with guns. Have you seen blue people with guns?
Yeah, I've seen multiple blue people with guns.
Oh, dang it. You should have just kept following them. They're right here with me.
They kind of died last time I saw them.
Oh, yay. Well, I'm just gonna stand next to them now.
Oh, jeez, I'm gonna die.
Please don't die.
Okay.
I don't know what to do. I don't know how to find you. I found the exit. That doesn't help.
Hey, friend. Can you help me?
Wait, did you just find
Can
somebody?
You help me, friend.
Who did you see?
I found a purple guy. Oh,
Name?
Look, here's the couches.
Wait. You're close to me. Is their name Javier?
Out. I'm dead.
No! You were just here! Oh my goodness.
There was guys behind me. Oh, I am dying. Not currently dead. Now I'm dead.
No, we've just about found each other.
Oh man, no.
I just found 2 other people as well.
Not every door is shut. Alright, I'm gonna go find like that's a room full of chairs. Oh. The number of lights in the hall multiplied by the chairs in the room, then multiplied by 12 is the answer.
Well, I'm watching these guys in blue attack stuff. I'm following these guys in blue just because I can.
I guess the door's already open.
Oh, they died. I am extremely interested.
Flying my dress.
Oof. The dude died. Well, I'm
Alright, I got a gun.
nice.
Cat.
I'm following
cat,
around the blue
please.
guys right now.
Please, cat.
The blue guys have lost some of their numbers.
Cat.
Oh shoot, I'm dying.
Maybe starvation?
It was thirst.
They're drinking almond cane.
It is 10. I didn't realize it's 10. I gotta go to bed.
Okay.
Good night, Rose. Good night,
Good
people
night.
watching. Wow, there's actually people watching. I was surprised by that. Sadly, I cannot do the game that Soup suggested. We should play this game again, though.
Yeah.
Well, bye, chat. Good night. Bye.